If small groups were the answer, your students would have grown by now. And if that sentence made you uncomfortable, good. Because it's not an attack, it's a release. By the middle of the year, most teachers have already done everything they were told to do. You regrouped, you added more minutes to your instruction, you changed the program, you taught harder, you used all your district resources that have been available to you. You stayed late, you worked early, you've done everything they've told you to do, right? And yet the data didn't move. That doesn't mean, though, you failed. It just means the system supporting your small groups did. I'm Tamia Peterson, a special educator and literacy strategist and founder and CEO of The Savvy Speducator. I have over a decade experience of transforming how educators support striving readers. I specialize in multi-tiered reading interventions, and I help teachers and administrators turn data into action. My approach is research-based, practical, and proven. 80 to 90% of the students I support show 1 to 2 grade levels of growth in reading. And I want to talk about why, for so many schools, small groups still are not working. All right, if you're saying to me, and make it plain. All right, let me describe a classroom I see all the time. So it's the same students in the group, the same lesson structure, week after week. The teacher is thinking, they just need more time. Let me teach it again, because we must reteach, right? Reteach. Maybe I need to explain it differently. Maybe I need to model it again. But here's the problem. Nothing is telling that teacher when to pivot. So instruction repeats and repeats and repeats instead of responds. That's not a skill issue. It's not you need another PD educator, right? It's a system gap, right? All right, so let's zoom out to the system level. So a district mandates a daily small group block, right? Schedules are tight, expectations are high, but there's no guidance on when to regroup, when to intensify the instruction or the intervention, when to start providing intervention, right? When to change the approach. There's no guidance, no consistent guidance on that. So small groups become just a checkbox. It's just you being compliant to what your district is mandating you to do. Time, of course, is mandated, but thinking isn't supported. And then you have teachers who end up carrying the weight. They're carrying the blame for decisions they were never guided to make, right? They were never guided on how to support children with learning differences, right? They weren't guided on modeling and how to approach small groups and to differentiate for them, right? So I've coached schools doing everything right on paper. They have the strong teachers, they have the quality materials, they have protected time, right? And they were still stuck. Not because they weren't working hard, but because there was no system connecting instruction, data, and decisions, right? So there was no clarity on what to change, no rules for when to adjust, no structure to support professional judgment. So let me say this clearly. Small groups don't fail because teachers aren't skilled. They fail because decisions aren't guided consistently, right? Small groups are just a tool. They're a tool to enhance instruction, to provide adequate instruction, right? But systems are what makes those tools work. And without that system, effort turns into exhaustion or burnout, right? Because I'm doing what you're asking me to do, but you're still expecting me to go from A to C without providing me a B, right? So if you're staring at your mid-year data and wondering what to change next, I created a free resource called the Mid-Year Reading Data Reset. So it helps you identify what's actually driving or stalling your student progress so you can adjust with confidence instead of guessing. It's linked below, okay? So in the next episode, we're going to talk about why buying better programs won't fix this either, okay? Because the issue was never teacher effort, right? It was always the system. So join me next time.